You are now listening to MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast Season 3. Chew! Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And at this time, y'all already know it is the Season 3 finale of MrGentleman Lifestyle Podcast. And y'all know every time we do a countdown show, I do a segment about myself. And just know that season 4 beyond, we will have more episodes about me, talk about my journey and stuff like that. Cause I feel like y'all need to know more about my story, more about my life story. Cause I came to a realization I do have a lot of story to tell. So this episode is no different. So we're gonna talk about, cause not only is the season finale, it's also the end of 2020 thing. Thank God, yeah. Thank God. 2020 been a very, very long year for all of us, and we all been through a lot. And y'all know I talk about my journey on about 2020, piece by piece. But this episode, this segment, I'm gonna tell it my whole 2020 as a whole and everything that happened to me. No holding back. Y'all getting the full everything on what's been happening to me in 2020. So we're gonna start with the top of the year. And the top of the year, I was in a place where I just wasn't happy with myself because everything that I was doing, I felt like it wasn't growing. To be honest, the only thing I felt like was the only thing successful in my life was the podcast and being a promoter. But my personal life, I felt like it was not growing at all. I just felt like I was not happy at a place at all. After working that job for 10 years, and don't get me wrong, the people there is amazing. I didn't really have friends because all my friends left. But I had, people, I was just cool with people there. But the thing was, the environment, it didn't feel the same for me. I felt like I didn't belong in that environment no more. And I felt like I wasn't growing. And, I hinted many times that I wanted to grow and do something else and just wanted to do more. But, they didn't see that. They just saw me staying at one place, And it just got, it was just depression. And on top of that, my best friend who was my coworker, who was my best friend, they let her go. So that was another thing, like, well, dang, so what am I supposed to do now? What am I putting through being here? And, yeah, but how I handle it was not the best way. And, I handle it when I'm promoting. I handle it while drinking and letting go my depression through drinking. Not that I had a drinking problem, but when I managed to go past my limit, I managed to just not care. And that was a big issue with me. And it went to the point that I almost messed up my reputation at a spot where I was promoting that, And after that night, I had to realize I gotta change up my situation and change up my ways. So I don't want to mess up my reputation and be known as that one thing. So I made a complete turnaround, and and stuff like that. But not only in the topic, I didn't have nothing but bad news. I had some good news as well. MrGentleman Like That Podcast made its 1 year anniversary, and with that was a big success because a lot of people didn't think. Well, a lot of podcasts in general, some podcasts don't make it to 1 year. So for me to make it to 1 year, it was a big thing. It was a big honor, and that episode alone was pretty much my fastest growing episode ever. And I believe it's one of the most successful episodes this year. Actually, I believe I gotta check the stats to make sure, but I believe that it was one of the biggest episodes for this year, for 2020. I would read the stats to let you know what was my biggest stats episode, but for 2020. But I think that was one of them. But not only that, my 1 year anniversary was a big thing. I also joined a team where they helped me get myself out there a lot more, not only in the audience but in myself. And I got shout out this team called the Co-op. It's a podcast group that I joined It started around in January, February, and it was a lot of podcasters around the world who got a lot of dope podcasts and pretty much doing amazing things. So joining that opportunity helped me out a lot. It got me out there a lot. It got over my social anxiety to go on other shows. Cause y'all already know in first season I was not going on other shows at all. I started going on other shows literally in 2020. And I remember the first show I went on, shout out, she was on my show, Jay Siobhan for Surviving the Journey. That was the first opportunity that I got to, start telling my story to her audience and other audience as well. So I want to thank her for giving me the opportunity, for she being the first person to interview me on her platform. So I appreciate that. And after that, things started to shape up in my personal life as well. I started to go to a lot of special events and stuff. Went to the Terror Hall show twice. The first time I went to the Terror Hall show, they showed me on camera, when Tommy Davidson was there and Karen Island. It was a dope show. Then we went the second time when the cast up for Life was there, Joy Bryan and the guy that made the For Life show. So it was a dope experience. And also, we went to an event with Damon John for Shark Tank. It was a dope event. It was a good networking event. I see a lot of people I know there. We networked. My homeboy for high school was there. And it was a dope event. And I thought 2020 would be a great year after that. The podcast grew out network. The podcast got more new audience. And I thought it was a great year. Then a week later, the pandemic started. And the crazy thing enough, the pandemic started. It was just out of nowhere. I think by the time I was at the event, the pandemic literally just hit New York that week. And a day later, I woke up with a sore throat. I was getting nervous. I thought it was normal, and I always get sore throats, because I sleep with a fan on every all year round. People don't understand why I do that, but I do it all year round. Cause I can't sleep. Cause when I get high, I can't sleep. So yeah, and I woke up with a sore throat, and I didn't think nothing of it, cause it's normal, So I believe I went to work I went to work the day after. And it was normal. Everybody like, I like, yeah, it's kind of sore throat, nothing, stuff like that. As time went on, my throat got worse. And then hearing the news about the pandemic, it started getting worse. That when it started, it was at a peak in March. A lot of people started dying. And it just started me panicking out. So, hearing the news, hearing the deaths, it just got me really scared. And everybody that know me knowing I'm not a person who don't really get scared at all. This more cautious. Like if I know I get a bad vibe about something, I would know off the back. But then I started getting scared, so I started praying heavy. I got this prayer book where, I read the repent and stuff like that, and I started praying for all my sins. And then after that, I decided that I wanted to get saved right after that. And basically the decision I made, it was pretty much because I was scared. But then, I actually got officially saved a couple days later, and that's how that happened. And that was just the first week of the pandemic. The second week, I started feeling worse. It went to the point that I couldn't breathe. And I was started getting nervous. I haven't slept for a couple of days. I keep thinking about what's going on in the world. And it was really getting to me. And out of nowhere, I started getting an anxiety attack. I mean, of course, at the time, I didn't know what it was. I honestly thought I had COVID. And it was really scary because the symptoms they were mentioning, I was dealing with. It was kind of just the sore throat and and that's it. But I was just panicking. Out of nowhere, my heart started beating fast. And I just can't shake it. I couldn't stop shaking. I never felt the feeling before, and I was really scared. And I'm like, yo, I thought that was it for me, and it was just scary to the point that whole thing did not stop. So I went to the hospital to get checked up. Everybody was scared. Oh no, can't go to the hospital. No, I didn't tell a lot of people. My family knew about it, and turns out they checked me. Everything. They're like, "Ken, you finally just have an anxiety attack." And to the point that when I found out I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder, and I was just, wow, if they actually had that ever happen to you, I'm like, no, this never happened to me, like never. And so they gave me medication for it. So I came home and the panic attacks still going on, and it's weird because it never happened before. It was going on for like almost a week and a half, and it didn't stop at all. And I don't know, it was just like, I don't know what's going on. And so naturally I started try to change my mindset. Cause remind you, Gym Like the Pocket ain't even returned yet. I just ended season 2, and I was on break, and I was supposed to return at the end of March. So a couple days later, I felt better. I don't know, no more anxiety attacks. The sore throat went away, and I felt a lot better. Which I realized that what triggered my anxiety, which I did research like all this year, is health. Every time I get unfamiliar feeling about my body, that triggered my anxiety. That's what I found out now that I've been dealing with. But we're gonna get to that a little later. So MrGentleman, like the podcast season 3 started. First guest was Banger, and it was good. We in the pandemic. April come. Woke up, same thing happened. Sore throat acting up again. I was like, oh, come on, not again. This had no anxiety attack this time, but I was still having trouble sleeping, so I couldn't sleep in my own room, so I had to be with my parents until I wanted to sleep better. And stroke got worse. So I know all through April, I did not put no episodes at all through April until like the end of April. And I knew that I had to get back to me some kind of way. So I went to the doctor and stuff like that. Got checked for the stroke. They gave me antibiotics and stuff like that. They told me that I had postnatal drip. So I keep on doing that, stuff like that. The antibiotics didn't work. Started getting worse. I went back to the doctor. I went to the ENT. Before I went to the regular doctor, they gave me X-ray and stuff like that. You are completely healthy. You're going through an anxiety attack, but it's something that we can't see, so they set up an appointment for the ENT. So I went to the ENT. They checked everything in my body, checked my throat and stuff like that, and they told me, yes, you are dealing with postnatal drip, which is an allergy that is linked to anxiety, but you're also dealing with acid reflux. Which is something that's going on your stomach, and it messed up your esophagus and stuff like that. So I had to change my lifestyle completely. So I had to cut a lot of stuff, cut dairy, anything with sauce in it, chocolate, alcohol. I just had to cut a lot of stuff and had to change my diet completely. And I'm not gonna lie, during that time, it was hard because the pain was bad around that time. It was severe acid reflux around that time. From April to June, it was really bad, and I couldn't exercise because the pain was heartburn was just hurt. Had to get Tums, take medicine. The medicine was bad because it wasn't working. And yeah, I had to. And I was upset. I couldn't do the Gym Like the podcast because I was in pain. I couldn't do it. And we wanted to do the premiere with podcast. They wanted to return. But I would keep pushing it back because I wasn't 100%. I wasn't better. Every time I would speak, my throat would clear my throat. It would be in pain. It was really bad. If y'all heard the past episode, y'all would hear me clear my throat constantly, especially the premiere of a podcast when first returned. I would clear my throat like OD a lot, and it was bad. So then, my COVID birthday happened. Clearly we was locked up, so I couldn't do nothing. 2 years in a row, I didn't do nothing for my birthday last year. Y'all know I was going through depression last year, and this year, we had a COVID birthday. So my friend did a surprise, did a Zoom birthday for me, and it meant a lot. And I ended season 2 around that time. Ended season 2 around that time, and ended season 2. I got the dates mixed up. I just realized I got the dates messed up. The end of June was the second half of season 2, and then season 2 ended on my birthday. There you go. So Banger came in. Season 3 was in the summertime. Okay, there you go. I apologize. Y'all got the dates mixed up. I apologize, y'all. But right on top of that, the Premiere Web podcast returned. We returned a week later. First episode, we started the quarantine series. We were supposed to do 5 episodes about the pandemic. We thought the pandemic would be done by the summertime. Because there was theories going around saying that once it get hot, COVID would be gone. And clearly, of course, that wasn't the case because we're still in the pandemic now. So we started quarantine. It was a big return for us, but it wasn't strong for us. But we're just happy to be work with the guys again, And that return wasn't strong at all for us. And then we had to cut the series short because something happened to one of the co-host family member. Somebody passed away in his family. So we had to cut the series short. So by then, by July, by the end of June, season 3 started, and that would have brought Banger to the show. And I'm not gonna lie, season 3 was a big. Season 3 was as successful as the first 2 seasons. Cause usually, the first half of like the podcast, this first half we usually do good, and the second half do bad. But this time was the opposite. The first half was not great at all. Numbers were just average, and in my head I thought season 3 would be my best season. Boy, I was wrong. First half of season 3 was none of the episodes didn't really hit. I mean, don't get me wrong. All my guests was amazing for season 3. For first half of season 3 was amazing. Banger, and for Beautiful Feet podcast, Angelica from A Little Bit of Everything with Me podcast, Miku Dollars, Coupon Cream Pen, and Michelle Miller, and of course Mr. Aaron Sands. But I don't know. It just, I guess the numbers for that were not doing great, and that's brought me into not being happy time. On top of that, Spotify. It was some drama with Spotify. Parody the RII. You already know the story. The RII. They hit me up over copyright infringement with one of the songs that I had at my show, and they took off for the episode from season 2, episode 23. So if y'all notice, episode 23 is not in this regular order. They took the episode off and had to bring it back up. And I guess again, same thing happened with that same episode. It took the whole show down off Spotify. So that also put me in a depression at the round for that. And around that time, everything was not going as planned. And yes, I had to reevaluate myself. But it was one thing that happened in the pandemic, and that is dating in the pandemic, in the quarantine. Because one thing that happened, 2 things that happened actually. Also during the pandemic, I came up with a new idea for a podcast show a new segment on my show called Date Night Talk. Well, it originally called Date and Talk Podcast, but that name was taken by another podcast show. Shout out to her, because she haven't made the show, and I didn't want to make it seem like it was the same kind of concept, so I had to change the whole I had to rebrand and change the whole show. And now is that when Date Night Talk came out, one girl hit me up that I know that originally I wanted to have another guest for the show who wanted to talk about dating, and she brought to my idea that she would come to the show to talk about dating. So I'm like, cool, I'm gonna have you on the show. That never happened. But then another girl, who have a podcast out now for the amount of CC, she would do the same thing. So I was thinking to myself, like, yo, maybe I should start a podcast based segment. Cause a lot of people wanted to do it. So I was like, why not? Let me start the Date Night Talk. So that's how Date Night Talk started in March. First 3 episodes was successful. And yeah. So as for me dating during the quarantine, I had started going on dating app. Facebook started a dating app during the quarantine. Wish I met somebody out there. It was cool. And dating in quarantine was very different. It was not the same how it used to be. We can't really go on dates and stuff like that. And it was just weird. And for me, I'm not big on dating sites at all. So it was just weird experience. But 3 people out of that experience changed, helped me out. But it's just one person's stuff that really, like, she's just an amazing person. And, she was so supportive. She pushed me to do better. She was there during the time where I was going through my hard time heavy with the acid reflux and stuff. And we had a date, of course, one time. It was a dope date. I mean, things fell out in her personal life, and it was just disappointment, because I felt like that was going somewhere, but it was just like this disappointment. And then a lot of that around that time, this was August, so around that time a lot was happening that fell through. Spotify was taking off. MrGentleman like the podcast was taking off Spotify. And then I got the news about my job. Even though me and my job were just, just up and down, I got the news that they would close it down. So during the pandemic, I was furloughed from my job. And so they told me to get put on unemployment. And it was cool because I had a lot more time to do stuff. I wasn't stretched behind the job and stuff like that. And it made me rethink on my next move. So August came and I got an announcement that they filed for bankruptcy. And then we got the news that we would close it down. So the last 2 weeks in August, we were basically cleaning up and leaving and stuff like that. Out of all that, I did got some free stuff from them, fridge, file cabinet. But, even though toward the end of my run at that job, I was going to depression about it. I wasn't happy about where I was at and stuff. I do appreciate the people there and the experience that I did made, because it kind of made me the person I am today. It made me more woke on the potential of what I could do going forward, and not just settle for that one thing again, just because I got comfortable in that situation. So yeah, and it was just a bittersweet, happy that I don't have to deal with the stress no more, but sad because it's a lot of memories in that place, a lot of memories, a lot of people, and like I'm gonna miss everybody, and I wish everybody. I know everybody gonna do big things, and I believe that everybody will be fine, and stuff like that. So after that, MrGentleman like the podcast returned for the second half, and I don't know what happened, but second half was a lot more successful than the first. Numbers start going up again. I started seeing numbers how I used to see from season 1 first half to season 2 first half. And of course I had to bring back Pam, and the numbers skyrocket to the point where we were charting in a lot of countries and in the US. In the US, we was in the top 50. We got taken off, then we got back on the category. We was in the top 200s and stuff like that. And I was like, wow. And I was like, wow, we doing big things. I was shocked at, I was shocked at the growth of it, because I didn't really do much, of course, but not only that, the Premier Boy started charting. We're charting for like 2 days on our show. But one of our biggest episodes for the Premier Boy podcast, R&B is Dead, with the special guest Miss Mademoiselle. And I was like shocked. Wow, things are looking up for both brands and stuff like that. It was to the point that I joined a community called I Am McCavity. Shout out to Miss Pam DeLau. She was on episode 5 and episode 50. She gave me the opportunity to join this community, start investing in Forex and stuff like that. And I'm glad I joined that committee as well. Also, during that time, it made me feel like, since I ain't gonna be working for a while, stuff like that, let me do something about this podcast. It's a lot more serious, turn it more into a business. So I invested in mics. I invested in audio ad. I invested in a little table and desk. I turned into, I got a little section now. So it also started doing the live version of MrGentleman, like the podcast, So I started to elevate a lot more. So also during that time, I came up with new shows for MrGentleman, like the podcast. We got the old school show that every fourth and fifth Sunday with the Premier Boy podcast on DJ Retro, and that's been a real success so far, and people loving that series, and I'm glad that we could start bringing out more content for that. Also, I put out 3 more episodes of the Date Night Talk series to see how it would go, and also not only that became a fan favorite too. People love that series, so now we are working on the Date Night Talk podcast in 2021. So look out for that. So the question that's on everybody's mind, most likely, what is Ken's next step in life? And I ain't gonna front, a lot of people been asking me this question. And you already know me. I'm not the man who like to reveal their next move, because I already know what I want to do. I want to make a business, have a business or two. Get the both shows on a bigger platform and bigger audience. Of course, have a wife and kids in the future. More, better education, more money, and be at a better place where I am now. So, how am I going to get there? That remains to be seen. But also to mention in the pandemic, which helped me a lot, that I didn't mention this. I should have mentioned it earlier. That I've been having a therapist, and I know a lot of people say, but black people say, "Oh, you have a therapist is crazy." During the time, you need one. No matter who you are, it helped me to open up on a lot of things that I had kept it for a very long time. Would maybe want to open up on more in season 4 and beyond. So I just want to give her a little shout out and thank her for her help, for continue to help me be in my growth and to be where I'm at today. And even though I'm not 100% with the acid reflex and the anxiety and stuff, it's a work in progress. Let's just say I'm a lot better than I once was, and I just gotta keep going and eat healthier, stay safe, follow the guidelines that are going on, exercise, and just do what you have to do. Cause you gotta love yourself first, yeah. You gotta take care of yourself first, y'all. And we don't know when this is going away. Hopefully, this is going away soon. But I just want all y'all to continue to be safe and be healthy. Because I want to see all y'all in 2021 and beyond. I want all of us to win. I want us to come together so we could celebrate safe and celebrate together. So that's it for that. Thank y'all for taking the time to listen to the segment. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Of course, some of the podcast stories will be repeated in the 2-year anniversary when we do it on January 20th. But yeah, like I said, thank y'all for listening to the segment, and here is the number 5 song. You are now listening to Mr. Gentleman Lifestyle Podcast Season 3. Cheers!